there's about 5,000 people just camped out there. Alcohol starts taking effect. You're lucky if you're
Wow.
going to make it past 3 weeks because your liver's about to go. And I used that car as a down payment for a land contract on six properties. Why am I not proving to myself that I'm worth what I'm doing?
Well, I love that, Rob.
In an old pawn shop, up on the shelf, there was an old microphone. He tried it out for himself. His name is Russ. He bought that mic, and now he's got a podcast show.
Hello and welcome to the Blue Cup Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe. Click the bell below. We have a guest today. I'm very excited for this conversation because Rob and I hang out all the time, and we've done some crazy business together and just crazy personal stories. So this will be fun. And getting to know Rob personally and business wise, I think is going to be quite an adventure. So we'll get into that. So tell us, Rob, who you are, where you come from, especially the childhood. Like, where were you born?
That's actually a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I was adopted somewhere outside of Youngstown, Ohio. I was adopted into this name, and I think it's because I lost the spelling bee in second grade when they gave me this name to spell, and I got stuck with it. So, but my dad, adopted dad, is a contractor. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and the reason I was adopted was in 1970 they had gotten pregnant, and she lost the baby because she had Crohn's disease. Back then they would immediately start hacking out parts of your body. So she couldn't have kids. 1979 I was born. So yes, I'm old. Not as old as Russ, but I'm old. But
Close.
not too far away. However, I was adopted, and I am Greek, Italian, and Arabic born, or adopted into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed family, so that was really strange. And it actually echoed in life growing up. I'd be called out for not one of these things is not like
Strange in what way?
right. As soon as I step out in the sun, I turn about 6 shades darker. I am obviously not blonde-haired, blue-eyed, far from. And back when I actually had hair before I had children and it all fell out, it was extremely thick, black, and curly, wavy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an interesting dichotomy there within the family. Dad's a contractor, owned multiple rentals growing up, so I got to know the rental game from that standpoint. And now, Russ, you can understand how crazy this would be.
Yeah.
The tenants knew where we lived because they drove their rent checks to our house. When they were pissed off, they drove to our house. Back in the time of beepers, if one of them showed up pounding on the door all pissed off, we would have to call Dad's beeper from the landline and dial 911 into the beeper.
Yeah.
So that was life.
So how many rentals did he have?
I want to say 35 or so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
His first one, so everybody's all about the house hacking. His first one was a duplex. He and my mom moved into this duplex that he bought and rented out the other side. It's crazy because he bought all these things on seller finance. Never taught me about seller finance at all. I just naturally got into it, and then later, oh yeah, that's what I did. And I'm like, why the hell didn't you teach me this when I was a kid?
Right.
But he didn't want me in the business. He never thought I was smart enough or good enough or anything else, which will play into the story later on as we go along. I remember about 13, 14, 15 years old, I would actually take his truck because back then, as long as you were driving relatively safe, the cops didn't care, especially in small town East Ohio.
License is really not that big a deal.
Not really. If I'd throw a ladder in the back of the truck, a mower in the back of the truck, stuff like that, and I would go and mow lawns and paint houses, stuff like that as a kid. And since mom was always sick, I would always, people are like, what, well, do you root for Ohio State? Stuff like that. Mom, I've never really watched football. I never had time. I was always on the job site because mom was always sick, so I was either at family's house or I was on the job site building houses.
You're saying your mom was always sick?
Always sick because of Crohn's disease.
Okay.
Yep. So she spent, growing up, we were probably told she was going to die no less than a dozen times.
Wow.
That she was not going to make it home. So, you grew up with that. And me being me, and Russ, how hard-headed, not only hard-headed can I be, but how hot my temper burns.
Yes.
I was that poster child for being shoved out the door and the door's
Yes.
locked and don't come in until the sun comes down.
Yeah. Yep.
And honestly, I don't think they cared if I was broken and bleeding. You're still staying outside. Get some duct tape. But no, it wasn't that bad. But no, I was growing up in that environment, you really become independent very, very quickly. And yeah, I was always just, I don't know, just making money and hustling and stuff like that. Just because that's what everybody else was doing. My dad's was born in 1950. His family was from that era.
Yes.
I remember we used to call my grandpa Oppo. He's Slovak, or was Slovak. Sorry. I remember borrowing his coat because mom had to be rushed to the ER and then was there for a couple of weeks or something like that. It's wintertime. Dad's like, all right, you got to go to Oppo and grandma's, and I didn't bring my coat, so Oppo gave me his coat, and I'd shove my hand in the pockets, and I would find rolls of 20s.
Okay.
There had to have been $3,000-$4,000 in this jacket. But that was Oppo's era. He grew up around, the Great Depression and everything else.
Yeah.
So my dad was a product of that. Never had debt, if he could help it. So I grew up always hustling, always afraid of debt, which later on, funny story about that, little side. I do these little tangents here and there. But
Sure.
I had a girlfriend that was like, hey, you don't have to pay your credit card off right away. And that actually got me into a lot of freaking trouble.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's trouble.
Exactly. So fast forward, found out mom ended up with leukemia when I was 16. And then I will tell you a huge regret in my life. I don't have very many, but we got into an argument. I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, I found out she had passed out. And Dad rushed her to the hospital. She died 4 days later. Never got to say sorry. Said a whole lot of shit in anger that,
Yeah.
tell you what, to this day, I will cry my eyes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was 17 when I lost her, and on tax day, coincidentally, she died on tax day. But then Dad got married real quick to somebody not much older than me, which really went well, and then got kicked out of the house for wanting to wash my own laundry, which I have been doing since I was like 6 years old.
Yes.
And got kicked out of the house, was working at a factory, was going to Kent State University full-time, midnight shift from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Yep.
7 days a week. I couldn't stay awake in class, so I got kicked out. My uncle comes up to me and says, hey, you are going absolutely nowhere. You're drunk every day. You're going into the military. But you're going into the Coast Guard because they don't go to war. So
Going into the Coast Guard because why?
Because they don't go to war. Which
they don't go to war.
Is not true. It is not true
How'd
at all.
that work out?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So
you're working a factory job, dropped out of college.
Yep. No, kicked out of college. Not dropped out. Kicked out.
Got kicked out of
Big
college.
difference.
Drunk every day, and your uncle says you're going in the Coast Guard because they don't go to war.
Yes.
Got it.
And so I go to I go to boot camp in March of 2001. We all know what happens in later on in 2001.
Yeah, there was a situation, wasn't there?
Yep. And I was on the ship, and it was crazy. So my first duty station was a buoy tender in Port Huron, Michigan. I hate the cold. By the way, a little backstory to that. I used to drive in truck when I was 13, snow plowing. I still hated it. Those old Dodge trucks, 1970 trucks, the Dodge trucks could heat up like nobody's business.
Oh yeah.
So you could boil coffee off the heater. But the ship was broke down. We couldn't go anywhere. The ship was built in 1944, was bombed at Bikini Atoll with nuclear weapons to test the effects of nuclear weapons on surface ships.
Wow.
So I'm pretty sure I glowed in the dark for a little bit. But it was broke down. We were stuck at the dock, and then they would put a chain across the buoy deck, said, you can't leave. And it's like, this is stupid. They're like, yeah, if we get a bomb threat, we got to sail out in the middle of Lake Huron so it doesn't hurt anybody else. I'm like, I'm swimming home. Are you kidding me? Aside from that, the ship's not going anywhere. It's broke. And so it was a very long, I don't know, 10 days, I want to say we were stuck, and our girlfriends would come down and they couldn't come onto the pier itself. So they'd sit on the hill and just wave at us. I'm like, this is just stupid. And then the Coast Guard goes to Homeland Security from
Yes,
it used to be
right,
Department
right.
of Transportation. We went to Homeland Security and was actually the largest budget in Homeland Security. We got to do some fun stuff, like flying out in helicopters, dropping down onto ships because somebody's name pinged the computer in Homeland Security. They weren't supposed to be in our country. So
Right.
we'd have to go find them on the ship and detain them and stuff like that.
So
That,
is the Coast, I know it's military, but
yeah,
I've also heard it described as law enforcement too.
yes. That's why it's Homeland Security. It's can actually bridge that divide.
Got it.
So we could
Yeah,
actually do operations on U.S. soil.
gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Such as when I got restationed to Michigan again, because the wife at the time was pregnant.
Yes.
I was doing like drunken boaters type stuff. That's why we could do those acts. So, but back when I was in Texas, you'd have instances where you'd find somebody, have to detain them because we found some actually legitimate bad guys that while they're crucifying President Bush for all the stuff that was going on, which I'm not defending the guy by any stretch of the imagination. We did actually find some legitimate bad guys that should not be in our country at all.
So you were in Port Huron, Michigan.
Yep. Then Port Arthur,
And
Texas.
Port Arthur, Texas. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Outside of Beaumont, which is
Got it.
kind of a
Got it.
suburb of Houston, I guess.
Beaumont's a rough town. I've only spent 2 nights in Beaumont and it was scary.
Double that and you'll get Port Arthur.
Okay. Who were the bad guys?
The most of them were coming from either like Nigeria or Sudan. We had some people from, I'm trying to think of some of those other Middle Eastern countries that they weren't supposed to be even coming to our country at all. But yeah, I mean, just different people that had terrorist associations.
Really?
Stuff like that.
So was this before 9/11 or after?
After.
After. Okay.
After. Yep.
After 9/11. Got it.
Yep.
That makes sense. So then you're on the hunt for the bad guys.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And I mean, and to be honest, if I would have stuck doing just that, I would have actually been really, really happy.
Right.
Because I started falling into more of an instructor role towards the end of it, which I really loved. I really enjoyed doing that. But then we also know during that time, a Hurricane Katrina happened, and I was first feet on the ground of that and got to see the ugly side of really, really ugly side of humanity, which I've never recovered from.
Yeah.
Seeing,
So tell us about Katrina.
so Katrina hit, and 8 of us were the first 8 to respond. We were the
Wow.
closest unit that was not affected by the hurricane. So we got there the night the storm was still leaving. It was still raining when we got there. And we were literally going through with chainsaws and clippers, cutting the trees that were in the middle of the road and trimming out the wires. Like, it's like, okay, should we be trimming these at all or are they live?
Right.
I'm not going to pee on it to find out. So that's how we had to get there. And we stopped. I can't remember what the heck the name of that stupid town is. We just north of Lake Pontchartrain. And then we crossed over the bridge there, which we found out later on we weren't supposed to cross because integrally it was not safe. But we had our safe boats with us. And those are about, I'm gonna get this wrong, and I know one of my coasties are gonna check me on this, but I want to say about 9,000 pounds.
Correct us.
I know it's about 9,000 pounds of boat, and it's a deep V. It's 25 foot, pretty deep, especially for anything other than Lake Pontchartrain. One of the craziest things in the world, by the way, during that hurricane, there were no bugs, none, not a single mosquito until day 9. The hurricane wiped out all the mosquitoes until their nesting time, their hatching time. So we get there and we can't go into the city because our boats are too deep of draft. Right. So they send us across Lake Pontchartrain from the Coast Guard station there, which we were staying in little trailers, to the University of New Orleans, where the mayor told everybody to go. We get there, there's about 5,000 people just camped out there. We start bringing them back. little bit at a time. In the meantime, we find John boats, and then there's a couple of, old, Cajun dudes. They're like, here's the keys to my John boat. Just park it here when you're done.
Yeah.
Basically is what they told us. So we'd go into the city. And that's when things got really, really shitty. I described it as hell flooded over because you would be going through and you'd have gas lines that burst underwater and you'd have flames shooting up through the water.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. Absolutely insane. I'm not going to get into it completely, but recovery of dead children. We found out, by the way, you know the affection I have towards dogs.
Yes.
It came from here because you would look under the water and you would see a dog tied to a lamppost under the water because they couldn't take the dogs with them and the dogs wouldn't stop following them.
God.
So I'm actually starting to get a little misty-eyed just because it's going back to that. But you had all of that and it lasted 10 days. Got to meet President Bush twice. Cool dude, actually, to meet him face to face, and he is small. He can't weigh more than $120. Dude is tiny.
Yeah.
But we ended up, the 6 of us that went out got credited for saving 1,500 people. I know the count was higher than that. I don't care. Because what the thing is, you remember the ones you didn't save.
Right.
And that's what
Right.
plagues my mind.
Yeah, that's what sticks with you, right?
Yeah, that's what drives, like, to
Yeah.
this day, I still have the nightmares, stuff like that. But then, so go back home to Port Arthur, and 3 weeks later, we get hit with Hurricane Rita. Goes right over my friggin' house. We come back down to Texas. Now in Texas, they do things a little differently. You start looting a business, they put your dead body right outside the door with the bullet hole still in your forehead to remind you not to loot their business. Like, seriously, it was insane. So it wasn't as bad, but the wife, Jackie, she calls me up. We're day 3. She calls me up. She goes, if you don't come and get me, I'm going back to my mom's house. And whenever you get restationed, you can come get me then. So I had a meeting with my chiefs and I was like, I don't know what to do here. I'm newly married. I'm trying to start a family here. So then you're going to get hurt. We didn't have guys shooting at us like we did in New Orleans by any stretch of the imagination. So they weren't quite as worried about that, but if that happened, they knew my brain wouldn't be in it. So they sent me to get Jackie, and we came back to the house. And I loved when my tenants complain about their AC being out or something like that, which is a problem. I went for 3 effing weeks with no electricity.
Yeah.
And 90, 100-degree weather. So it's like perspective, y'all, perspective. But we got through that, and it kind of got back to a normal schedule. Then Jackie gets pregnant. Her family's up in Detroit, and I'm like, I'm not moving back to Detroit. I actually put Charleston on my dream sheet, but then they saw the Great Lakes, and they're like, oh, you're going back up to Michigan. I'm like, crap. Get up there, start going through the times.
Well, they said you can tolerate the cold, so we'll send you up there.
Yeah. Let's put a little Gumby suit on you and throw you in the ice because you like that shit. Yeah. Stupid. Actually, that's a whole new level of stupid. Fun story. We were in Saginaw Harbor, doing ice rescue training, which is just an oxymoron because 90% of the time you didn't get there anyways before they were a popsicle in the first place. And we're out there on the ice, and they're taking chainsaws to cut holes in the ice so we can jump in.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
So we're on our way out to cut a new hole in the middle of the night, and there are, northern rednecks everywhere driving their trucks out on this ice, which to me baffles my mind. Why do you think that'd be a good idea in the first place? Add in that you're putting a shanty out there with heat on the ice.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking past that stupidity, I remember this truck blasted right past us, like not a care in the world. Next thing we see is taillights straight up in the air. We had an immediate ice rescue call while we were right there. It's like, you guys are just highlighting the stupid. And one of the instructors said there are more vehicles at the bottom of Saginaw Harbor than there are ships in Lake Huron.
Wow.
It's just baffling to me.
I love the term northern redneck.
They're different. They're
I
a
mean, I
different inbred.
totally
They're a
get it.
different type of inbred. They really are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I get.
But anyway, get back. And so I'm going through my time. New Orleans is still really bubbling in my mind. 2009 hit and I become suicidal.
Mm.
I couldn't deal with it anymore. Home life was falling apart because I couldn't deal with the mental side of it. I wasn't getting any help. Part of it, it's the thing to hide. You hide this. You're
Yeah,
not supposed to be.
Of course, none of us are going to ever admit to
Right, exactly.
feel that way.
And, alcohol starts taking effect. Home life takes effect. And then I start getting suicidal. And I have the keys to the armory on my waist. I'm standing duty at the station. Station duty was like, they describe it kind of like firefighter hours, 2 on, 2 off, and every other weekend.
Yep.
So I'm officer of the day. I've got the keys on me. I'm already having a rough time, at that station because it's very, very political. Because I was stationed at Station Grand Haven, which is, they call it Coast Guard USA. So Coast Guard Day every year, biggest festivals at Grand Haven. So it's extremely political. The stations in and of themselves are very political, and I am not a political character. I am the hammer. I smash things, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I had lunch today with a Marine. I said, "What did you do in the Corps?" He said, "I was a door kicker."
Yep. Yep.
You're kind of a door kicker too.
Yeah, I sort of am. Definitely didn't go through what he went through, but definitely nowadays I am definitely a door kicker. But I was actually, in the middle of the night, I'd be hanging onto my rack crying because in my brain, I was getting up out of that rack. I was going down to the armory. I was unlocking it. I was loading up one of the 9s. I was putting it under my chin, pulling the trigger. It was so real. I could hear if you've ever fired a gun without hearing protection, you go deaf instantaneously.
The ringing. Yeah.
That pop. I had that pop. I could smell the cordite. I could feel the bullet going through my head. I could feel the back of my head lifting off my skull.
Oh my God.
The last picture in my brain was my daughter, which kept me anchored to that rack. So finally somebody heard me and they're like, "You need to talk to somebody." Yeah. So I go in and all of it just spills out in front of my senior chief. They commit me to mental health for 4 days, which was surreal in and of itself. You want a reality check, go into there for 4 days. You're normal, trust me. But they diagnosed me with bipolar, which was a weird one. Because it was obviously not a bipolar spell that I was going through.
Okay.
And so that and clinical depression, severe clinical depression.
Yes.
And in the meantime, the Coast Guard decides to throw a charge at me for sexual misconduct.
What?
Yes. I'm like, where the hell did this even come from? So next thing I know, I'm standing in a captain's mast as an E6, and they're trying to charge me for kicking this girl in the ass and then like stalking her throughout the station. And one of the instances that they were talking about, I'm like, well, I could pull up the receipts on my phone. One of my grandparents passed away. I was at the funeral the day that in Ohio that supposedly happened.
Wow.
So it was weird. And I found out later on that for some weird reason, when you go through a med board, because that's what I ended up going through, for some reason, they don't like you. They think you're scamming the system and you're
a problem. Right.
Right.
Wow.
And I still got bumped down for conduct not becoming a petty officer because I had to go to mast. And so they bumped me down from E6 to E5. And I am pissed. Like, I have a chip on my shoulder at the time. And I remember the other E6 was, well, I'm still a BM1. I punched him right in the face. Like, I wasn't having it. I hit him. I just knocked him down. And the senior chief comes running out. "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not putting up with this shit anymore." And we had another state, the sector field office was across the street. So they shuffled me over there to do ready for operations, which was a perfect place for me to go because you go to all these stations inspecting their search and rescue gear and stuff.
Yeah.
Which would take all morning. And then in the summers, you hung out at the golf courses, and in the winters, you were snowboarding. I loved it. It was great. And so that was 2010. At the beginning of 2010, I've been reading Robert Kiyosaki books, Donald Trump books, some Ron LeGrand books, anything I could grab. I knew real estate because my dad.
Yep.
I had a realtor that found it was a 3-unit, like one of those old chopped up 3 units, single family house that had a mother-in-law suite in the detached garage, and they separated the second floor.
Yep.
So I got it under contract, and they were like, well, we changed everything to single family residential back in 2005.
Yeah.
And this house had been chopped up in the 90s. And they said it has a 4-year, if it's not occupied in 4 years, it goes back to single family. This had been vacant for a lot longer than 4 years. But since it had the separate mother-in-law suite, it could still be a duplex. I had to buy the land next to it. And, I borrowed money from my father-in-law for all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And the land next to it was going up for auction, tax auction. I bought that for $900. And then the guy that I was in contract with for the house went into bankruptcy, which completely screwed that deal. So I had this piece of land, a vacant piece of land I couldn't do.
No.
Well, finally, about 4 months later, another realtor I know, actually also a property manager, came up to me and said, hey, Rob, I know you got this land. We just got this property off of this seller. We got through bankruptcy court and everything else. Can you sell us the land? I bought the land for $900. I sold it to him for $1,500 4 months later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
First time, technically called that wholesale, I guess. But then I also got under contract. I found a 6-unit apartment building that the bank owned that was running into this 4-year vacant problem.
I see.
Yep. And the city wanted to tear this thing down. Now,
Yep.
This turned out to be the first hospital in West Michigan.
Huh.
Yeah. I found this out after I sold it. It was pretty cool. Still had the tin ceilings in the storefront.
Yeah.
All in the huge crown molding. Oh man, I couldn't do anything with that one because it'd been vacant. I couldn't turn it back into commercial.
Right.
And they wouldn't let me turn it into residential without creating a parking lot that was never going to be big enough to convert it. They had all those rules and stipulations. But anyway, I walked into the bank in my suit and everything. I go, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $20,000 for this. I had no idea where the money was coming from. They go, we're not doing 20. I'm like, damn it. Okay, what will you do? So we settled on 40, and I said, okay, we'll do 40, but you're writing the loan, and I'll give you $4,000 down. By the way, if you don't do this in the next 4 months, it turns back into single-family residential, and they're going to tear it down. Here's all the paperwork for that, so you see it, so you know I'm not full of shit. I'm going to agree to that, and a $30,000 construction loan. Renovated this thing within those 4 months, had it fully occupied.
So 6 units fully occupied.
5 of the 6. I couldn't occupy the 6th one. Yep. I wasn't allowed to, I can only use that 6th one for storage. So from there, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then, I'm reading some of the Ron LeGrand, some of the Robert Kiyosaki stuff. So I'm learning about land contracts.
Right.
So I started buying the land contracts. I can't make a price. I'm sorry, but I'll tell you what, I can start making payments to you for the next 10 years. Hopefully I can pay out sooner than that. But over the next 10 years, you don't have to worry about, as Larry Gones used to say, termites, trash, toilets, and tenants. You don't have to worry about any of those. Because I took one of his courses too, of course. But I started doing all that. Ended up with grand total of 35 doors by the time I left West Michigan. Not without being stupid, and developing a drug problem in the meantime. So while I'm doing all this, and it's kind of funny when I get out of the Coast Guard, I know I'm bouncing a little bit, but when I'm getting out of the Coast Guard in 2010, in October 2010, it's my final day of duty, about to leave. And I basically tell the commanding officer, I was like, hey, I got to go. I got a closing on 2 properties here in about an hour. I need to leave. He looks at me, and I literally told him, I said, my life is going on beyond the Coast Guard. You can stay here as long as you want. I got shit to do. I'm leaving. See ya. My chief's looking at me like, dude, what the hell? And
Yeah.
way to leave out on your last day. But after that, you know,
I think that's a great way to check out.
I know. 2 closings? Are you kidding me?
With forward motion. Was this drug fueled forward motion?
No, it was the drug
Okay.
problem actually didn't happen
Right.
until it was actually. I operate best when my back's up against the wall, which is not a healthy thing to do, by the way, by any stretch of the imagination. That was definitely spurred by, like, I have a family. I have to support a family. And we're in West Michigan in 2010. I have a degree in business marketing. I'm a disabled vet. And one of the first questions they'd ask, okay, well, how do we know that you don't have PTSD and you're not going to shoot up the office? That's exactly
shit.
like just an assumption right out the bat. And I'm sure I could have won lawsuits, whatever. But, that would be a kick in the balls. I mean, dude, I just served the country and now you're going to treat me like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would go and, they would give me all these pills to be taking for what they called bipolar, which wasn't helping because that's not exactly what I had. And all of a sudden I was starting to get really sick. They were starting to tell me my liver was dying. I needed to stop drinking. And I got to the point where I couldn't even keep down water. So it's like, I'm not drinking. I can't drink alcohol. I've been dry for a while, everything else, just because I couldn't keep it down. And the doctor literally told me, you got 3 weeks. You're lucky if you're going to make it past 3 weeks because your liver's about to go. And we'll see you back in 3 weeks.
Basically, your liver has 3 weeks.
Yeah. So I went home so damn depressed. And I couldn't even tell my wife. Like, I'm like shattered. I don't know what to say. My life insurance policy was with the military. I couldn't afford one because I was actually losing a company at the time. Because, by the way, the stuff they had me on was called Risperdal. It's a drug that I cannot give platelets to this day because of that. It's a forever drug.
Wow.
I will get what they call Risperdal brain, where once in a great while, my brain will fog out for a day. I cannot function. It is a forever drug. And they had me on this stuff, and I would not be able to function within my company because of this stuff. I was in a fog most of the time.
Yeah, because you couldn't.
You couldn't at all. Now that it happens every 8 months now, maybe 9 months, but even that one day that I'm off, like I tell my staff, I'm staying home. Don't ask me to make a decision today.
Right.
This is not a day for me to make a decision.
It's called a mental health day.
Exactly. Which is more important than I realized, especially nowadays. But I go back home depressed. I take that pill and I throw it up. And I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm going to die anyway. I'm just going to get drunk. So I went to the store. I never took another one of those pills. I went to the store. I just bought a case of beer and drank the whole thing that day. Did the same thing. And it's funny when you're an alcoholic, it's funny how you're broke, but you can always find money for the alcohol. But I would literally get trashed every day. And I went back to the VA. They ran a blood test. I said, we're glad to see you're still with us, blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever. And blood results came back and they go, you must have stopped drinking because your liver's improved.
So it was the medication that was pounding your liver.
I told him, I said, I quit your medication. I started getting drunk every day. And they started freaking out. They threatened to, commit me to an insane asylum or something like that. And I'm like, that's not really what's happening. But that actually led to a pill problem. I'm not exactly sure how it got to that point. But, when you quit something like that, cold turkey, your brain if you weren't bipolar before, you're bipolar now, at least for a little bit. So I started crushing like Vicodin and Percocet and all at the same time. Started doing that, got really, really bad about it. I was drunk by 9 o'clock in the morning, stuff like that. And then the wake up call came when I'm working on a buddy's house, 4 doors down from me. And I crushed a bunch of pills. I'm drinking like crazy, working on the house, take a hit of his bowl. I grab a beer, jump in the truck, even though it's 4 doors down from my house, pop the beer. And I hear, Daddy, why are you opening up a beer in your truck? I forgot my daughter was with me.
Oh,
no. Totally forgot. That beer went out the window. I didn't touch a thing for 4 months. The only thing I picked back up was beer, or was alcohol. And it was such a life altering situation. And what's funny with that is right after that happened, my business picked back up because I was doing side jobs because my business wasn't doing good because I was crushing pills and everything else. But yeah, but there's a lot of fun stuff that happened during that time too. We mentioned before about some of the houses I purchased, which I know we want to cover.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can jump into that real quick. And actually those happened right after quitting everything happened. It was funny how like God stacked this stuff up. He's like, okay, I'm going to put something glaring because you're stupid. I'm going to put something glaring in your life, stupid. So it's very obvious. I want you to stop a certain behavior. And then I'm going to show you what your reward is for getting better. And I stop all this stuff. And next thing I know, and I'm doing wholesales at the time, by the way, as I'm trying to get clean, I'm trying to make money. I got introduced to Kent Clothier and I started following his system. And in the meantime, I'm getting good with city inspections because in West Michigan, your properties undergo an inspection every 4 years, but you also have to pay a rental fee per door every year of $70 per door.
Okay. So is this for Section 8 or just
no? This is for any rental you owned. Yeah. You had to work for about 6 to 7 months between the taxes and the fees with the city before you got to see any profit, and that's if you didn't have a mortgage.
Yeah.
So I got really good with the girl in there, the girl at the front desk. In city inspections, the girl at the front desk is your friend.
Yes.
I would get phone calls. Hey, I hear you buy houses. I'm getting rid of my house. I had this dude owned a trucking company, very like multimillionaire. Like this dude would walk around with $1,000 in his wallet any given time in cash. And I met him once at a bar while we were talking about his 3-unit. And I just watched him throw down. And back then, and we're talking, early 2000s, or not early 2000s, early 2010 teens. I'd watch him throw down just $100 worth of alcohol, and it like nothing, and just cash every single time. It's like, geez, man.
Right.
But he had called me up. He goes, "Hey, I heard you buy houses." I said, "Yeah, and I just bought one, or I just bought a package, which we'll get into, which was a fun deal too." But I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I got a 3-unit. You want it?" I said, "Sure." I said, "How much?" He goes, "No, just take it." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "Do you want to see it?" I'm thinking, you just told me I can take it. I don't give a shit what it looks like. But I went out and looked at it. His brother lived in one, his daughter lived in another, and then he had a veteran that lived in the back one. Sure. We went to the closing table that day. I handed him $1 to make it official. We got it notarized and everything else.
And you bought his headache.
You know what? His brother and daughter moved out the next week.
Okay.
I rehabbed, because I used to do all the rehab stuff myself. I rehabbed it and got it reoccupied for above market rents, which back then, for a 1-bedroom, you're still talking about $450 a month. But that thing, I should never have sold that damn thing. When I did sell it, I ended up selling it for $55,000.
Okay.
But at the same time, I just wholesaled a house in Detroit because I couldn't get anything in West Michigan to sell for more than $5. And they're like, "Well, okay, well, I'll take the $10,000 offer, but what about the car in the garage?" And I go, "The car in the garage, what is it?" They said a 1955 Ford Fairlane. I said, "I'll give you $11,000. You include the car." They said, "Sold." I had to snail mail everything.
Yeah.
They snail mailed back the title and the keys, and I'm like, "Oh,
Wow.
this is a liability." I went on Craigslist that night and got the house sold for $14,000. Had to haul to Detroit to get my car. And I used that car as a down payment for a land contract on six properties, 2 duplexes, 4 single-family houses.
Really? Okay.
Yep. So those are fun times.
So did you
It
sell the
happened after
car
the
and
drugs.
convert it to cash, or you just gave the seller the car?
Just gave him the car.
I love it.
Yep.
Uh,
But
very
that's what
cool.
happened after the drugs. So,
Yeah. Yep.
but yeah. And then what else was fun at that period of time? I had a realtor call me up and said, "Hey, Rob, I got this kid in my office in West Michigan. You had to pay the realtors $1,500 minimum. Because otherwise the houses were so cheap that there's no reason." And the kid owed taxes on it. He had injured himself, was trying to get Social Security. And I'm like, sure, I'll check it out. And it's this roach-filled house with some squatters in it. We're walking around, and the kid's like, well, I just need the taxes. So if you just want to pay the taxes, and I'm still broke, I'm still trying to feed a family and still trying to recover from my drug addiction. I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, you can just quit claim it to me and I'll assume responsibility for the taxes. Okay, cool. He goes, by the way, my daughter or my my girlfriend just had my baby 6 days ago. Can you bring a baby swing to the closing table? Sure. So I contacted a friend who she's like, yeah, I have a baby swing, it's $25. I'm like, sure, I'll buy it for $25. So bought this baby swing, gave it to the kid at closing. So I call it the baby swing house. Sold the house 4 months later, I want to say, for like $8,000. It wasn't worth anything.
Right.
This was a house when you opened it up, because I still have the law enforcement in my brain. I'll open the door from the side, and you'd open it, and it was a cascade of cockroaches.
No.
You would act like clearing a house, like the Marine you had a lunch with.
Yeah.
Open the door, toss a grenade. I would do that with bug bombs.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was so bad.
Nasty.
And it was that bad. Like, you could not step on that floor without crushing a roach. That's why you couldn't enter the property.
So you and I have a mutual friend, and I don't want to say her name.
I think I already know.
She and I did a lot of business together, and I swear to you, windows down on my truck, we pull up in front of a house, and she said, "This house has fleas." I was like, "How do you know that?" She said, "I can smell them." So we're in the fucking driveway. You can't smell the fleas. And Rob, I swear to God, I opened that door, took one step in, and I'm stripping my socks and shoes off because the fleas were just, and she could smell cockroaches and she could smell fleas
That's
from
crazy.
the fucking driveway.
Well, that's why I have bug spray in my truck. Like, I won't go, like, when I go walk a unit, I will not walk a unit without spraying down with bug spray first.
Yeah, the roaches are gross, but the fleas are brutal. I mean,
They're horrible.
if they jump on you like that, it's like stripping off socks and shoes and go home and take a shower. It's like,
I've had my
terrible.
jeans completely black.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whew.
Never enter a property again without bug spray.
So here's a story for you. We live in Charleston, you and I both, and I used to do really high-end remodeling. So I had just gone to work with the new company, so the boss was kind of accompanying me on deals, on meetings with people, because we're sitting in a $4, $5, $6 million historic home in Charleston. Beautiful Oriental rugs, couple of Cocker Spaniels or whatever they are. And so we sit down at this gorgeous dining room table, and about 2 or 3 minutes into it, I'm scratching one leg with the other leg. And then I see my boss fidgeting. And so we wrapped up the meeting real quick, and we both went out in the driveway and again ripped our socks and shoes off. Look up at this, like, I mean, that house is probably at least $6 million today.
Yeah.
And those dogs had fleas, and they were in the carpet under the dining room table. How in the world the homeowners could sit there and endure it? Look, I'm scratching my scratching.
Yeah,
thinking
I know. I'm like checking my leg right now under the desk.
The cascade of cockroaches or the army of fleas. That's what we deal with, right?
It's price of business. It's funny because I'll tell tenants, I'm like, I'm gonna have to charge you a pet fee for all these roaches.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy some of the conditions some of these people live in. I can't fathom it. It's like, I've been separated from my wife for 9 months now, 8 months, something like that. And I'm not happy with the condition of my house by any stretch of the imagination because I'm working all the time. You
Right.
know,
Right.
I have my cleaning company. Every couple of months, I'll be like, "Hey, I need help catching this thing up." You
Sure.
know, so they'll come out. No, they'll hit up the house real quick. Um, you know, because I have a 13-year-old son that is like, when he's there, he's like, "But Dad, I just did chores at mom's." I don't care. You're doing chores at mine now too.
Right.
Price of living in my house too. But no, it. Some of these things make me feel so damn normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so while in Michigan, I end up deciding that I am not the best owner operator. At
Yeah.
one point, I get really burned out because
Yeah.
I'm actually literally going to houses and collecting rent, which we both know is never a smart move. I am working on every single house myself.
Yeah.
You know, I'm literally going. I mean, I'd get up, take my kids to school, which is cool because the school is right down the street, so I could walk them
Yes.
to school when it was good weather. Then I go to the gym, work out for 2 hours. You
Yeah.
know, so honestly, I didn't get to work till about 10.
That explains the biceps. So yes.
You know what? I can actually say this live now because the soon-to-be ex heard it. I call
Yeah.
it the divorced dad bod. She's not happy about that one.
I always, to the audience, I always introduce Rob as my bodyguard. Whenever we're together, it's like, I'm Russ. This is Rob. He's my bodyguard.
Yep. Well, and now with Danielle, she's my bodyguard. So that's funny. God,
Yeah, I could see her
she's
kicking
jacked.
some butt too.
Good Lord.
She is jacked.
So this is how I like running my office. I
Yeah.
love physical health because it helps the mental health.
Right.
She's going for a bikini contest.
Yep.
And she is busting her ass, and I am so proud of her for everything she's doing. You know, I'm supporting her in every possible way I can. So I'm really, really happy about that progress, which is actually driving me to be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the girl up front, Gina, she's like wanting to get healthier now because she sees what Danielle and I are doing.
Right. Right. Right.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, meal prepping sucks. I absolutely hate it. As a matter of fact, you saw me eating the beef jerky because I missed a meal. I am starving. I could eat damn near anything right now. But at the same time, if I miss a gym day, I'm off mentally. Like my
Yeah.
mental health is not, you know, because especially property management, it is such a taxing job to do. I make a joke that, you know, I went from military to property management. I didn't have to transition into civilian life because it still sucks.
Is it the same level of suck?
I'm not getting shot at as much.
Not as much. I mean, occasionally.
Not as much.
Not as much.
Although that mutual friend, if we're thinking about the same person, almost got me shot.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
sketch.
I almost got you shot as well.
Oh yes, you did. We'll get to that one.
Let's tell both those stories. So
We'll get to that.
I bought a house in a little town called Sumter, South Carolina. Remember? It's right after you and I met. We hadn't known each other very long. And it was a foreclosure. And in my experience of foreclosures in the past, when we take possession of the home, there's nobody living there because they've been removed by the court, right? It's a foreclosure. You haven't paid your mortgage. You don't live here anymore. So my construction crew shows up to clean out the house, and there are people living there. And so Rob comes to my rescue, and I'll let you pick it up from there.
So I sent notice to her, notice of non-renewal, and like, you got to get out, you know, because the courts weren't doing anything about it. They didn't give a shit. It was the craziest thing in the world. And she contacts, well, I want to meet face to face. I'm older. I just do business face to face. I'm like, okay, this is a great idea. Not. That's when back then, you remember, I was a little chunkier. I was probably about 220, 230 at the time. A little chunkier. So concealed carry was definitely a problem.
With the waistband, I get it.
Yeah. Just for reference, I'm now 178 as of this morning. A little small for my taste, but that just means I need to eat more protein and look more weight.
Last time I saw you in person.
I appreciate that. I still need bigger muscles. But more testosterone, baby.
Yep.
But anyway, so I go out to Sumter. I did not want to drive out there. I drove out there and I meet her. And as soon as we step into the house, she sits down right next to her shotgun. And I'm like, okay, this is going to get interesting.
Yeah.
I really got to bring my negotiating skills to the table, because I really don't want to shoot a 60-something-year-old lady as soon as she grabs. And she had one bum arm. She couldn't lift the damn thing in the first place.
Right.
You know? So it turned into, I want to say, like a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah.
And she gives me a tour of the house, and I'm like, why are you still living here? Because you're missing a floor over here in your son's room.
There's a hole
You're
in the
missing a
floor.
ceiling over here.
Yep.
I don't get it. But anyway, yeah, so I ended up making 2 other trips out to that house, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like the last one's verified it was vacant, but oh my God. And she just laid the subtle hints that she had no problem picking up that shotgun and giving me an extra hole to breathe out of.
Didn't she say at one point, I'm going to shoot you or shoot myself?
Yep, she did say that. And she said she told the cops at one point, if there's ever a 911 call out to her house, just bring the body bags. And the cops verified that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, this lady is fucking nuts. One of the crazier people. Other than that, she's pretty cool. It would have been really interesting to go drinking with her.
Homicidal insanity. She's pretty cool.
Good God. She would have been a good drinking buddy. She definitely would have got, that would have been, the stories that would have came out of her mouth would have been interesting. But yeah, that was a fun one.
I would definitely
I
want
mean,
to do that one on a Zoom call with her not in the same room with me.
Yeah, right. But I mean, honestly, so I mean, to backtrack a little bit, I mean, this is what got me into property management, like really got my company going. Because you know, when I moved down here, I had to sell everything because the property management company I had ran me out of business. So I wanted to do things differently. And my buddy got me into property management because I did not want to buy and sell houses. I already knew I didn't like that from wholesaling. So I started up the company, and then you reached out and asked with me if I'd just do evictions. So for a while there, I had that commercial building only and just did evictions, just to make ends meet. And it really spurred something. It was really kind of cool.
Well, and one of the things, if I can kind of speak for myself, is that eviction that we're talking about in Sumter. I mean, Sumter's 2 hours of driving from here, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yep.
And then you're there for 2 or 3 hours. And you need to eat while you're, here or there. You got to put gas in your truck, et cetera. And you send me a bill for like $102. And I called you and said, Rob, you can't work for $100 a day, because that pretty much shot your whole day. So, well, I was home by about 3. I was like, yeah, but you're mentally, your day is shot. I mean, that was, even though you have the car ride on the way back to kind of, get centered again. And so we had a conversation there, and we kind of came up with an eviction plan. I was like, if it's an easy one, it should be this kind of a package price. And if it's a really difficult one, it should be the package price plus expenses, and mostly just your time and your fuel. And I think some of it's a mental space too, because if I had that experience, I would get back to the office and I wouldn't get anything done for the next 2 hours, because you have to kind of decompress.
There are days, or there had been days, where I'd go home and I'd be like, okay, that bottle of Maker's Mark is getting opened right now.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's ones that are super easy. Like I had a beautiful one that a mutual friend of ours, Patrick, had, and I was able to rehome this girl, and she rented from me for like 3 years.
Yep.
It was beautiful. I love those ones. Those ones come together really, really nice.
We've been kind of focused on the scary and the negative.
Yeah.
They're definitely feel good moments too.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, I got into this because I was almost a homeless veteran.
Yeah.
I was fucking up so bad, and I'm really good at it, the fucking up part, that I had the foreclosure notice on my door, and my wife and my daughter and I were going to be out on the street. And by the way, she was pregnant at the time, and that's scary as hell.
Yeah.
I had one guy in West Michigan. This is where I found out about homeless veterans. I get a call, and he's in Grand Rapids. I had that property I got for $1.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we have a homeless veteran. I'm like, I didn't realize there were any. Oh yeah, there's 1,400 in Muskegon County. I'm like, why the hell are they homeless? I got angry. Well,
Wow.
he's living under a bridge right now, and he's like on a ventilator or on air machine or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
get him into my house. Well, we have to go through the process. I said, I don't give a shit about your process. Get his ass into my house today, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
find you.
Go pick him up.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I went and picked his ass up. My
Yeah.
problem, like, this ain't happening. No, But
Wow.
that's why I'm in this business for things like that.
Right.
I can't stand the bureaucracy behind the shit.
Right.
You can probably see I'm getting angry about it because
I
it's all
can.
wrapped up in the
You're bowing, as we say in the South, you're bowing up.
Yep. Yep. I'm ready to punch somebody in the face because these guys should not be homeless at all. Like, period. There's no goddamn excuse for this. And that just, it boils my blood. That's why I do this. And those stories are just, I had a lady in here the other day. She came up and I worked with her because she's trying to move out in the apartment complex, wouldn't give her keys and all this other stuff. She gave me a huge hug and she's like, I've never worked with somebody like you. And she handed me a $20 bill. And I'm like, I don't need your money. It's okay. She goes, no, please take this. And I was almost in tears.
Yeah.
And by the way, when I went to church Sunday, I put that one right in the offering basket. I was like,
Well, it made
this
her
is where
feel
this
good
needs
to
to go.
give it to you.
Yeah. And it was just, those are the stories why we do this.
Yeah. Yep.
I've, through my time, almost every time I screwed up my company was because when I wasn't true to myself.
Yeah.
And which I just went through. I got sidetracked, I got bloated, I got stupid, and my company started suffering. And I know you've heard some of the stories from the other side of it, because we talked about it. But it's because I lost the sight, I lost the reason, I lost the why.
The why.
And
Yeah. Let's talk about the why.
yeah,
Let's dig into the why.
absolutely. So before, it's always, all of us with kids are going to say, I do it because of my kids. That's the most bullshit reason to give. I love my kids, and yes, I do it for them, and I know you do it for yours. But that's the most bullshit reason to give. That's not your only why. The why,
Right.
that why goes deeper. I've already mentioned the homeless vets and everything else. And Justin Colby. I became friends with Justin through the Boardroom Mastermind, and he had something that really, really rocked me on his Instagram. And for the longest time, what I would enjoy doing was I would enjoy calling my dad, and because he didn't think I could do this. And I would love to tell him how good my company's doing. Even when my company's just stagnant. Hey, by the way, my company did this month. And it became like the most pettiest bullshit you can imagine. And Justin literally said something to the effect of, I used to do this to prove myself to everybody else, but I've never proven it to myself. I never felt myself worthy because, I know I haven't, because of that argument with my mom right before she died. I always thought I was the biggest piece of shit in the world. Hated myself for the longest time. And finally I heard that and it just clicked. And this was only about a month ago. And I'm like, why am I not proving to myself that I'm worth what I'm doing?
I love that, Rob.
Nobody does.
Brian, tag that. That's a gold nugget. That's the goldest of golden nuggets right there, is to do it for you.
Yeah.
And
you're worth it. Nobody proves it to themselves.
wow.
I am the biggest giver. I will give the shirt off my own back. And when I don't have anything left to give, I'm going to find a way to give them more. I had a friend whose car got repoed and I'm broke, but I found a way to find money for that person to get their vehicle back. I had another friend that went to visit her family and she couldn't make it back and she needed to get back to work. So I sent her gas money. I'm like, here you go. I don't expect it back, but at the same time, I'm always giving. I never give to myself.
Right.
So
there's an old, if you think about it, when you fly on an airliner, they do the safety, the seatbelt and if the cabin loses pressure and the mask drops, what's the first thing you do?
You're supposed to put it on yourself first,
You
then
put
help
your
the person next to you.
own mask on first, then you help others.
Yep.
Because if you don't, and you're passed out, you can't help anybody. So put your own mask on first and take care of you.
Yep.
And then you can take care of other people. So I think that's a key point.
Yeah, my pastor up north in Michigan, the one I used to play guitar for,
Yep.
he and I were talking, because it was back when I was losing companies and trying to get out of the drug addiction and everything else,
Right.
and losing the house, or almost losing the house. Um, we never had enough food for all of us to eat. I'd cook up dinner for Jackie and Shannon, my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd let them eat, and I'd go over to my buddy's house to have dinner because there was enough food for me. And my pastor's like, yeah, no. He goes, I don't care how small of a plate you've got to get yourself. You get yourself that plate and you eat first.
Yeah.
Let them have the majority of it, but you eat first.
Right.
And, that lesson kind of came back to me when I heard Justin talk about it. So now, that plays in more to the change of the why, because now I'm actually taking time to relearn my guitar. Not relearn it, but get back to where I was and starting to play out more things I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
God, I'm going fishing with my daughter. My daughter just went off to college. Now she's only at Charleston Southern, so she's not far away. Thank God. It's enough of a heartbreak. She's not living with me anymore. But she's like, Dad, let's not go to church on Sunday. We're going fishing.
Oh, I love it.
I'm like, sign me up. I'm going. So, those times are so precious. So let me share with you another thing that just happened not very long ago. I had a set of clients that were very taxing, very, very, very taxing. And I'm actually learning to let clients that are very taxing go.
Yes.
Yeah. Now there's a balance to it because you don't want to crash your company,
Right.
but I almost passed out from my blood pressure getting so high. Now I went in for an MRI on my shoulder. I've always had shoulder problems. So thank God that they're giving me a steroid shot so I can actually get back up to, 315-pound bench press on a regular, until I have to have shoulder surgery because I'm an idiot. But anyway, I'm at the VA and the nurse comes up to me, like my main doctor's nurse is down in the area. She stops and talks to me and she stops for a second. She grabs my wrist, takes my blood pressure right then and there. She looks at me just like my mom would. She goes, "Get in my office now." I'm like, oh, shit. They wouldn't let me leave. They had to give me a shot and they wouldn't let me leave. She goes, "I don't know how you didn't have a stroke."
Oh my
She
God.
goes, "Your blood pressure was so high that you were over the line for a stroke."
Wow.
She goes, "Whatever you're doing, you need to stop." And now I'm not taking my blood pressure meds like I should be, everything else, and drinking Black Rifle freaking cock.
Yeah. I see the energy drinks.
Or First Form. Gotta love my First Form. I buy so much First Form, they send me free shirts. That's actually how I pay Danielle, by the way. I just buy First Form. But anyway, no, it was a huge help. I'm 46. That shit shouldn't be happening. And it was a bad enough scare that I'm like, what if I don't get to walk my daughter down the aisle?
Yep.
My son, he's not even in high school yet. I'm about to miss out on the best years if I don't start taking care of myself. So, it's kind of retooling life. The money part's important because the money is the tool to get you through life.
Right.
It's not the end all be all. When my doctor asked me what I wanted out of my life, I said, I want to live till I'm 95 so I get to see my great grandkids and play with them, God willing, and then die peacefully in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to quite make 100 because that's when shit really starts to hurt. I mean, I've already got arthritis in the back from the military, and stuff like that. And it's like, and it's funny because I was actually looking at the company. I'm like, in property management, you don't make a whole lot of, there's a whole lot of overhead without a whole lot of income.
Right.
And you hit certain levels. So when I was at 120 doors, let's say, I was doing pretty damn good. I had cash. Well, then what's the next thing you get that takes all your money?
The plateau.
Employees.
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're at 200 doors, then 300 doors. And it's like, okay, now I've got this big office. We're actually going to downscale the office next month because we don't need this big office. We're going to work virtually. We're going to have one small office, cut my rent by 3/4. The phone bill goes down. All these bills go down. There's no point to it. But I mean, you got to look at it like, okay, what's the longevity plan? And it's not just for the company, because if you're not around, what's the point?
Right.
What are
Right.
you doing?
Yeah, that's why you have to take care of yourself first.
Yeah. And yeah,
In reference to the growth, we went to a Grant Cardone, Brandon Dawson training, like high level. We're talking about those plateaus, and what you're describing, whether it's hundreds of thousands or millions of tens of millions, is at each plateau your profit drops for a while,
yeah,
and then you have to get back up to level, because when you go to that next level your profit goes down, and then you have to get it up, and then you
yep.
ratchet up and ratchet up. But a lot of
That's
times
exactly.
we don't expect that. I mean, I didn't expect it in my business. Like, I'm going to hire some people and I'm going to make even more. And then one day it's like, I'm actually making less,
Yeah.
but that's the next plateau.
I literally cut my pay to have another employee. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's there's another component to that though, because we get complacent. Things are good. You saw how fast my company grew.
Yeah.
You get comfortable. You think you're really good. I know some people love Donald Trump. Some people hate him. I love a lot of the stuff he writes in his books. Plus, I love his humor. I think the dude is like the ultimate troll.
No politics or religion.
No, no. But in one of his books, he talks about thinking he had the Midas touch.
Yeah.
And then he said that's exactly how he lost almost everything
Yeah.
back in the 90s. He thought he had the Midas touch. He lost touch with reality.
Yeah.
So you stop losing that drive and that hustle, and shit just spirals. It does. And we don't get smarter. We just get harder with age.
That's right.
And we do some of the dumbest shit that we knew we weren't supposed to be doing, or we don't do what we know we're supposed to be doing. And we end up in the same look in why did I do this all over again? Because I saw this coming 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Why did I still do the same actions?
I love how vulnerable you are, and that's why I wanted to have you on here. And you and I have had some real heart to heart conversations. And I
Mhm.
think we have kind of similar emotional calluses, talking about getting not really smarter with age. You just get harder, and then you get softer in different ways. I mean,
Yes.
I'm much softer today with caring for people and loving people and taking care of people than I was at 20, 30, or 40 years old. But in the other ways, I'm much harder.
Yeah.
As far as the resilience goes. So I love the way you describe that. Because am I hearing that right? Is that kind of how you
Yeah.
would describe it?
That's
Yeah.
exactly it. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's also learning your bullshit meter, like what
Yeah.
you're willing to put up with. And
Yeah.
like I mentioned a couple clients earlier, and like I got off a phone call with them, and I'm like ready to fight them. Like I am ready to throw down. And it's like I shouldn't be this way. Which is once again, starting to work with the people I want to work with, and getting back to that harmony, I
Work
guess.
with people you want to work with. That is
Yeah.
such a critical statement. That's a gold nugget for
Uh,
Ryan to tag right there. Working with people we want to work with and enjoy working
yeah.
with. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy all the time, but it
No, and
shouldn't
it's
be like, what is his name? Siphius, the guy who pushes the rock up the hill.
yep, yep.
You shouldn't feel
Mhm.
like that all the time.
No, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. And it's for a while there, I was adding doors just to add doors. Like
Yeah.
I have this set number of doors in my head, and it's like
Yep.
that's not the way you do this. I could have 300 doors and be perfectly happy, and I could have 900 doors and be absolutely freaking miserable. But
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, in kind of going off of that, as well as what we mentioned earlier, I'm also trying to figure out how to get myself out of this company. Like, just not be so, I want to be more present with my kids because, and I know you went through this. Once your kid moves out, you realize how much time you didn't spend with them, like
Yeah.
really fast, and it's heartbreaking. It really is because I mean, like I said, my daughter saved my life when I was suicidal. That
Yeah.
picture of her face in my head right before I went to get that pistol saved my life.
Mm.
And I'm like, did I not? I didn't spend enough time with her, when she moved out. And she has different memories of that, of
Right.
course. Dads are that one that's, we have to be out there. We have to be in the thick of it. We have to be supporting the family because I'm a provider.
Right.
That's who I am. That's what I do. I will
Yeah.
provide. But at the same time, her mom spent more time with her than I did. What the hell, you know? So, but, you know, along the way, I mean, the life I'm building has provided me with the opportunity to, like my son's off school today. I went home and had lunch with him. I'm my own boss.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
love it.
And it's funny because, side note, how proud I am of him. He started up his YouTube channel, is now earned $60 through Temu for his affiliate, which
Wow,
his mom's got a blog with a couple of different affiliates, and she made like $10 so far.
that's amazing.
Yes.
I love it.
And yeah, so he's like, now
Is he
he's like
fired up? Is he
oh,
excited?
he is fired up. Like he just bought a whole bunch of shit because him and his friends are doing a short film.
Yeah.
And it's some horror thing. So he bought like this fake arm and fake blood. So he's going to rip off one of his friend's arms or some crap like that.
Yeah.
And he's going to film it. And he's like, Dad, I can do this and send it to Amazon and send it to this and send it to that. And I can actually get paid every time somebody watches that.
That's crazy.
Holy
I love
shit.
it. So, you want to plug his channel? You can.
Yeah. It's Matthew, the gamer that games.
Matthew, the gamer, the game.
Matthew. Mathy. Yeah.
M-A-T.
His name is Matthew, but he went by Matthew, the gamer that
Okay.
games. Yep.
Because there's a
And
million people named Matthew.
yeah, exactly. He's a that kid.
Cool.
Something else.
Well, y'all, if you're listening or watching, check out his channel. I
Yeah.
have a friend who he describes his son like, I don't understand him at all. He's doesn't have any friends. He's socially awkward, blah, blah, blah. And he's making $13,000 a month online.
Yep.
And he's like 15. and he said, I guess I'll just leave him alone and let him do his thing. Cause he goes to school every day. He said, then he comes home at night and he said, I looked at his, bank account and he made like 7,000, 10,000, 13,000. And he's, it sounds like something similar to what Matthew's doing.
Yeah. And Matthew's always wanted to do stuff like we found
awesome.
videos on his mom's old iPad where he was actually practicing this at like 6.
Love it.
It's crazy. He's
Well,
all into it.
That $60 could turn into a lot more very quickly.
Yeah. This is
from
Temu. So if Temu's sending you $60, that's a lot of sales for Temu.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know the
That's
trouble I get
awesome.
into
I love it.
on Temu for like $80, and it's like Christmas every other week because it takes them 5 years to send you everything.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's really cool that because in the military you are stuck.
Yep.
Sometimes from 9 to 5. Sometimes I've been gone a full month. You know, my daughter was actually just with me right before we started, and she comes in and she wanted some of the whiteboards since we're downsizing. So I gave her some of the whiteboards. We went down and did a showing. We're just hanging out, and it's so cool. She's like, "Hey, Dad, I'm in town. Let's go for lunch." So we'll go out to lunch. I'm like, I'm dieting, so let's be careful. But Daddy can't get fat again. But I mean, it's super cool to be able to take that time, you know.
Right.
We all have the schedules, but we can all figure it out. We're not stuck at 9 to 5. So I love that.
Well, and that's kind of the theme we talk about is anybody could do the things that you do if they're willing to do the things you do.
Yeah. It's literally just hustle and find somebody smarter than you to continue implementing that. So you don't have to hustle as hard, because I am not smart. I will never say I'm smart. I just figured out a system. I'm still figuring it out.
Right.
But I have Danielle. Danielle can outshow me on any freaking house I've got. And now she's actually finding clients. And she's doing a way better job than I am.
Yeah, we had that conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I love hearing that.
Yeah.
That you've identified, and Danielle's been with you for a while now.
18 months, 19 months.
You've identified a skill set where you need to pull back and let her run with that. And she's very capable.
Oh, extremely, very smart, very and no nonsense. Like she'll put up with bullshit up to a certain point, but when she shuts that filter off, you better step back. Like
Yeah.
I take risks. That's not a risk
Yeah.
I'm going to take.
Right.
So,
Right.
I like to keep my balls where they're at. But
Good plan.
she literally, I remember she used to work for the crawl space medic, and they restructured or something like that. She called me up, "Hey Rob, I need a job."
Yep.
Sure. I just fired my leasing manager. I was like, "Yeah, come on in." I didn't expect it to stick, and I didn't expect it to go the way it went. And because I never hire friends and family, never.
Right.
This is one exception that actually worked out.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
So before we wrap it up, I want to talk about steel drums,
yes,
because that's so cool that your daughter, of all the musical instruments to gravitate toward,
yep,
I've never known. And I mean, I just listed a house for two friends from college, and one is a flautist. That means she plays the flute. And the other one is the best bass player I've ever met in my life.
yep.
And so I listed a house with them the other day. So I know a lot of musicians just from being a very poor musician myself and dabbling in it. But I don't know anybody who plays the steel drums except your daughter.
It was a course at River Oaks Middle School, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll try it." During COVID, I've got 14 guitars. I got one behind me right now. The other
Right.
one
Just in case.
went to open mic with me because my Ibanez, the pickup's out, so I had to grab that one. But yeah, I got like 14 guitars, and during COVID, before they locked down the apartment complex that I was working at the time before I started Up Epic, my guitar playing. When I get home, I'm like, "What in the hell is going on?" She's teaching herself how to play my damn guitar.
Yeah. Yep.
I've been playing since I was 15. The way I grew up, never watched TV, nothing like that. So I started, my mom bought me my guitar, got me 10 lessons, whatever. My girlfriend's mom loved Elvis Presley, so I would learn old Elvis Presley tunes to impress her to keep me in good graces.
I love it.
The reason you learn guitar is for the women, believe me.
Yeah.
Especially with a face like mine. But anyway, yeah, she taught herself how to play. She actually tested out at college Guitar 1. She didn't even have to take it. But yeah, she started playing steel pan. She took off on steel pan. Her senior year in high school, she gets invited to College of Charleston to play for the College of Charleston. And I'm like, and she's helping some of the students at College of Charleston learn how to play steel drums. I'm like, this is freaking awesome.
I haven't seen her live, but I've seen videos and my jaw is dropping. Like,
yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing how well she plays.
It's an instrument I could not figure out how to play. And I'm a drummer. I'm a guitar player. I used to be able to play piano. I actually just picked up a new keyboard because she can play piano. I picked up a good one to bribe her to come to my house more often. Between that and smoking brisket, that's 2 ways to get her home. But no, I can't believe how talented she is. It's just, and all dads are going to say that. All dads are going to say that. I can truly, honestly say that.
Right.
And not bullshit anybody. Like anybody walks up to her and hears her playing, will agree with me. I mean, it's amazing. She's played next to international artists on stage.
Very nice.
Who have all complimented her skills.
Yes.
She sold right next to the last one. I can't remember what the lady's name is. Straight out of Trinidad. It's just, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I'm just, yeah. And she'll be home. She'll bring her steel pan home. I'll grab my acoustic and we'll start playing Margaritaville.
Perfect.
Love
little
it.
Bob Marley, little Jimmy Buffett. We'll bring it down. So I had a similar experience where my Bianca is my youngest daughter, and she took ukulele lessons. And when she was really little, and got pretty good at it. And her music teacher was like, she has a beautiful voice and she can sing and play at the same time, which is a pretty good skill for like a 7-year-old kid. I mean, and so I came home one day and she's sitting on my sofa and she's just playing a whole song on one of my guitars. I said, "Where'd you learn to do that?" She was like, "YouTube. You just watch YouTube." And she has gotten to be very good. And then Skylar, my daughter who's in college, sent me a text and said, "When you come to visit, could you bring me a good guitar? This one I have is garbage." And so Bianca has my Paul Reed Smith guitar, and Skylar has my D'Addario custom guitar, and I'm left with old beat up what is it called, an Epiphone.
Yeah.
which I love. It's actually my favorite guitar because it's like
It-
60 years old.
Nice. The
'Cause
one
it
when
has
they're
a
really
really
getting good.
warm tone.
Well,
Yeah, but that
my daughter's
D'Addario is pretty sweet to play.
yeah.
I didn't love the Paul Reed Smith.
I'm not big in
Yeah,
Paul Reed's.
that one didn't thrill me. So it's a
Um,
really nice guitar, but my daughter has it.
we found a 1970 Harmony for my daughter back when they made good
Nice,
harmonies, and it is a stellar guitar.
very
And I mean,
nice.
as far as I picked up an Epiphone Les Paul a couple months ago,
Yeah,
and I prefer that over a Gibson right now because Gibsons are just clunky. They're heavy.
yeah.
They play great, but so does the Epiphone. So
I have a Gibson Les Paul Studio,
Mhm.
and it is like 40 pounds.
yeah, it's heavy.
It's crazy how heavy I'm exaggerating. I don't know how much it weighs, but it weighs
It's definitely heavier than
significantly
the
more than
Epiphone.
any other guitar I've ever played.
Yep.
Has a good tone though. It's a
Yeah.
nice thick tone. So
Yep.
we'll get together and play some music again
We can
soon.
do that soon.
Yeah, I bought you talked about the pickup going out on your Ibanez, and I could either take my Music Man bass to get fixed, or I just bought a Stingray and
Yeah.
put it right next to it in the rack because the same kind of thing happened. So
Yeah. I got that. What the hell's it called? The same one Paul McCartney played on the Beatles.
oh, Rickenbacker.
No,
No,
no, the bass. Yeah. Yeah. The violin bass.
the violin bass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got that
that-
on a house sale. See, I'm so fucking jealous of that. The only
I've got
guitars
so
I've gotten
that one
guitars from houses, and they're
that one came out of a house.
garbage.
Yeah,
I know
that
you
came out of a
got
house. 5 of my guitars came out of houses. Out of
you have like
evictions.
5 cool guitars you got from houses.
Yeah.
All the ones I have ended up in the would like look at it and go, let's just put this in the dump.
Yeah. Oh, and I ended up with a kid's flying V.
Nice.
So fun story. I was they call me hairband minus the hair up in Michigan when I played for that church.
Yeah.
And my plaster was big into Guns N' Roses. Loved Creed. We were playing one of the Creed songs. I can't remember which one.
It's
But
okay. They all sound the same.
pretty much, yeah. And they're all tuned weird. But I was learning it, and I walked away for a little bit, and they're here playing because my son was playing, like loved playing it, and he's just standing with that flying V, not actually playing, like he was just pretending he was, and
Yeah.
dancing back and forth. I'm like, I got to film this. So I got to find that video. It was funnier than hell.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Rob.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
thank you to the audience. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We didn't even get to the methamphetamine stories. We'll do that
No, we didn't.
We'll do another one because we have
Absolutely.
some very recent methy victims because there were methamphetamines all
Well,
over the place.
We can't call them drug addicts anymore. We got to call them Mexican Americans.
Got to call them what?
Mexican Americans.
Ryan, you can edit that out if you want, or we can leave it in.
Trying to be politically correct.
All right. So next time we'll talk about the methamphetamines and home invasions, but this was fun. So thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody who's listening or watching. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and our website. Ryan will post those for me because I'm not smart enough to do it myself. And we will see you next time, or hear you next time, or talk to you on the podcast. Hey, and don't forget to comment. Comment on what you heard today and tell us we're full of it, or that you enjoyed it, or there's something you'd like to hear more about. So thank you for listening to the Blue Cup Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
He went to a bar, refused a shot.